Hey, Sideline Shenanigans fans. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ryan Jones. Today, I have an interesting character from the outskirts of Miami of Ohio. I have Coach Kenny Higgins from Union City, Indiana. Coach, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me on. Union County, by the way, there is a Union City, which makes things confusing, and there's
Right.
also a Union Modoc. So a lot of unions going on around here. But yeah, we're down in Liberty, Indiana, so just near Oxford, about 25 minutes south of Richmond. So
Okay. All right. So my usual first question is how how did you start getting coaching? Get into coaching.
yeah, so I played high school football. Obviously, most coaches did, and then I went to Taylor University, played football there, and also did track and field. Graduated 4 years, the normal. And then
Right.
I got out of college, didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I actually started coaching track and field first um, because I graduated at the semester. So loved track and field, thought maybe I should give football a shot as well. And so I jumped on with Coach Wilhelm at Yorktown, and I spent my first 3 years there. So yeah, I've been pretty much been coaching since I got out of college. I think this was my 11th year of track and it's my 10th year of football, I believe. So
Hmm.
pretty straightforward, I guess, typical coaching experience as far as
Right.
how I got into it.
How do you define success for your team?
I think the success is defined differently every year. Last year, we struggled. I'm sure you know that. Most people do.
Oh yeah.
But coming into a program that was struggling prior, you're taking time to rebuild, try to set the right habits, and put things on the right path. And so, success this year is going to look different. I mean, I fully expect to be in the win column at some point this year, hopefully early, um, and then just continued growth. I'm not going to put a number on the number of wins because I don't necessarily think that defines success. Um, God forbid, but if we lost every single game by 7 points, that would still be success in my book compared to where we were last year and then where they were the year before I got here. So um, I think success is just, it changes every year. So I don't, there's a direct definition you could put on it.
All right, coach. So, do you coach all your players the same, or do you tailor it to certain kids?
Um, I think you have to be able to adjust to different kids. I mean, I think we have coaches, we all have the same expectation of our players as far as the general expectations, show up on time, give your best effort, things like that. But I think as you get to know your kids, which for me, will start happening more and more here in year two and going into year three. Um, I think you do adjust maybe how how you project those expectations and how you teach them to those kids as you go through time. Every kid has a different home life, different story. So if a kid has a dad who does it lovingly, or coach them in younger years, and they just yelled a lot, that might not work with that kid. Or if you had a group of parents who have kind of always been a little bit easy on their kid, then maybe kind of lighting a fire under them will produce more results. So I think the expectations are always the same, but how you achieve them and how you project them to the kids is I think what we adjust over time. Same thing in the classroom.
So, coach, the football off season is a long, long off season. How do you prevent burnout?
Burnout for the players or burnout for the coaches?
Both, both.
So I'm in a unique position. Well, not unique. I'm in I guess, convenient position at Union County. So many of my athletes are needed and desire to play other sports. So burnout, as far as the players goes, is not too bad because they're playing basketball, they're wrestling, track, baseball,
Hmm.
whatever other sports may be available to them. in the spring and winter. So burnout's not too bad. Now, again, I'm only going into my second year at Union County, so hopefully it doesn't get to the point where we have any burnout. But I
Right.
guess I'm not really to the point to see it yet. But as far as the coaches go, um, at least on my staff, and again going into my second year now, I think one thing I learned. And I'd heard this from other head coaches is you have a tendency to like want to do everything on your own and kind of burn yourself out more than your coaching staff. And I'm not burnt out, but I definitely took a lot of things on in my own free time in the off season to get things done. I have coaches that help out with stuff and they do a lot of work, but as far as things, with equipment or, grade checks and things like that, I just took that responsibility because I have the ability to do it. So I think my coaches probably aren't very burnout. Again, going into the second year, I've got a couple new guys on staff. A couple volunteers are going to help out quite a bit during the summer. So I'm pretty excited. Like I said, I think everything is going to be better this year, and we'll have improvement to show for it.
Absolutely. Coming back from 0-10 season, heck, just going 1-9. That's just like that shows improvement, and that shows something.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, that's where the definition of success is fluid. For some teams, state championship team, going undefeated is probably, or I wouldn't say it's their goal, but that would be a measure of success for them. Obviously, if you go to state, then the following year you want to win state. You know what I mean? If that was not the fortune you had the previous year, so everybody's level of success is different. But yeah, 1-9 is better than 0-10. Losing every game by 7 points as opposed to 40 points is better too. So it's a very fluid definition that I think changes every year and changes team by team.
So, like you said, it's your second year as a head coach, going into your second year as a head coach. How are you approaching to build a new culture for the Union City or County Patriots?
Yeah, absolutely. I think again that was probably the hardest thing going into last summer was getting kids to buy in, getting kids to kind of see my vision. And I think the way that I did that in the summer and going into the fall was just being myself. Trying to build relationships is the best way to kind of change that culture around. Getting kids to see obviously we want to win games, but it's not all about winning games. Caring about their personal lives. Hey, did you go see that new Marvel movie last week? Hey, I heard you had your first date last weekend, or congrats on getting your driver's license. Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that goes a long way to turning the culture around. I think my approach, as far as like on the field, last year, and I've talked to my coaches about it, and I've acknowledged it myself, was maybe a little bit more lax than I should have been. Um, my reasoning behind that was I want to have a team, and if I come in with a hammer, immediately guys will just walk away. It's a lot easier to walk away from an 0-10 team than it would be to walk away from a 5-5 team. So
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be my biggest uh, adjustment, I guess, going into this summer. And again, not to just say I'm going to drop the hammer all the time. And I didn't lax up on my expectations as far as punctuality and how to behave, but I'm just going to expect more on the field is what it's going to come down to. Making sure everybody's giving 100% effort every time. Maintaining those expectations of, if you're late, you're not starting the game. You know what I mean? If you're late consistently, maybe you're sitting a whole quarter or whatever that may be.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I guess, building into what I believe now. These guys, they like me, they trust me, they have faith in myself and the coaching staff, what we're trying to do. But now getting them to understand, like, there's levels, guys, and we have to build up those expectations again, not just behavior, classroom, things like that, but then on the field, what we're doing daily. So,
Coach, what's your going to be the team identity this season?
I've been kind of going back and forth in my head about that, and I think that's something that's fluid as well. And I think in a lot of ways at a smaller school, you don't really know exactly what your identity is going to be until you get to the fall. I have a certain type of offense I'd like to run, and I guess best comparison right now is kind of like the Pacers. Like I want to run, I want to throw the ball around, I want to
Yes,
get things
sir.
done quickly. Yep, go Pacers. But I want to get things done. I have a really really talented incoming freshman class that's very skill heavy, but they're freshmen. So part of me is like, let's start it early, throw the ball around, get these guys trained on how to throw, catch, run routes, and then at the same time, I'm returning like 6 junior O linemen. I've got some upperclassmen running backs, and so then I'm like, let's pound the ball. You know what I mean? So I think summer workouts will kind of dictate what our identity ends up being, because it'll show, are these freshmen more ready than I expect them to be, or is it going to have to be, handing the ball off a lot, throwing the ball 12 to 15 times a game, and running it 25 to 30 to create some of that success. And then that changes week by week too. Some teams don't defend the pass as well, so you got to throw it. Some teams don't defend the run as well, so you got to run it. So I think our identity will be more apparent as we get into July and early August.
Yeah, like you said, it just really depends when you get closer to the season and summer workouts. Um, how do you handle internal conflict between players?
That's a good question. I haven't had a ton of internal conflict at my current coaching stop in Union County. At my previous stop in South Dearborn, it just by virtue of being there longer, I saw more conflict. And so me personally handling it was not always the case. Again, I wasn't the head coach, but I think now if anything comes up, it just depends on the situation. Again, it's always fluid. If two guys are fighting over a girl, I'm gonna politely remind them that this is a high school girlfriend that more than likely neither one of you are going to be with in 6 months. But if it's something on more of a personal level or directly involving the two of them, I'm going to sit down and talk to them like young men. They're these guys are 14 to 19 years old. They're 3/4 of the way to being adults, and some of them are already adults. So just sitting down and talking to them and making sure they understand what's really important in the situation. Obviously if it's during the season, team is most important. And if that's something that can't be solved, obviously I'll, reach out to principal, athletic director if it's something that escalates, past my purview. But
Excellent. Um, so now I'm gonna ask, what's your biggest strength and your biggest weakness as a team right now?
Our biggest, and that's tough. Our biggest strength and weakness is probably going to be our youth. And I know that's probably kind of a cliche answer to say both. But it's, we have 15 to 17 incoming freshmen who have had a lot of success at the youth and the middle school level. They lost one game last year as eighth graders. And they're hyper talented and very skill heavy too. There's some linemen in the group, but I'd say of the 16th or 16 of them, probably 10 of them are skilled guys. And that's going to be a benefit to us. It's going to push upperclassmen to work hard because they're very driven. But then at the same time, those 15-year-old kids can't play varsity. Not if
Right.
there's 10 skilled guys in that group, maybe 2 or 3 are going to be actually capable of playing varsity minutes, sparingly, hopefully. So I'd say that's a strength and a weakness because it's gonna push the upperclassmen and bring some talent and athleticism to the group. But it's also it's a catch-22 because you can't use them all, even though at practice they may show flashes. When you're going up against Northeastern or Centerville that have the 18-year-old senior who's been working hard for 4 years. It may not look the same, even if it's competent. It may not look great. So
Right.
that's going to be our biggest strength and weakness, I think, going into the season.
Yeah. How many guys have you usually had on your roster, like last year?
Yep. So last year, I think we ended up with 28 that were on the team, 27 that were healthy. We started around 31, 32, and myriad of reasons why guys, some guys moved. I think I had a guy go homeschool, and then some, grades they thought they were going to be able to make it, and they weren't. So I think we ended up with about 28 on the team. Definitely it was not ideal. Our JV schedule was nixed. There was just no way to manage that. I
Right.
think this year, I think our numbers will be better. I don't have an exact number, obviously, on my communication app. I can see everybody that's in there, and there's some doubles because so and so forgot their password or whatever. But I definitely think we'll have at least 10 to 12 more than we had last year, and hopefully more than that. Um, it's not ideal, but I would love for Jimmy from Georgia to move up at the last minute, and his parents bought a farm in Union County, and now they want to he wants to play football, and he's a big, strong sophomore, and so that'd be great. That's not always realistic, but everybody hopes for that. So, yeah, I'd say we'll definitely have better numbers this season than we did last year.
Funny story about me. I went to a small high school. I only there was only in my 4 years of playing varsity football, we only had one JV game.
Oh wow.
One.
Yeah, I
And
certainly would like to have a few again for that freshman class because they are talented. But again, putting them up against high schoolers, seniors rather, consistently, it's not fair to them, and it's not going to foster growth. So, not that I'll have a full 9 game schedule necessarily, but I definitely want to have 3, 4, 5 JV games if I can, and I'll seek them out. I have obviously friends in the coaching community, smaller schools, bigger schools, and try to get some connections so they get some opportunities to get better on Mondays or Thursdays.
are you guys going into any like 11-on-11s?
No, we're not currently scheduled. I think I have a 7-on-7 scheduled with Richmond at the end of the summer. That was one of the things again last year, and then obviously going into this year, I'm hopeful that attendance and buy-in will be better. But we haven't started yet, so I can't see that.
Right, right.
But I don't like to commit to things when I don't have commitment from my guys. Now, with that being said, we start this week. Most schools do. If I've got 25, 30 guys out here every day, and in Indiana, it wouldn't be hard to find a 7-on-7 or an 11-on-11, in July. Or sometimes you can pop into a team camp for a day and say, hey, can we work with you guys for a couple of these practices and do some stuff like that. So I think if we get the buy-in, we'll probably add at least one thing to the schedule in addition to the scrimmage we currently have scheduled with Richmond. But I'd definitely like to get more into doing that. I think that's when you get some of the fine tuning things of like your passing game and the nuances of your run and finding out what that team's identity is going to be. Are we going to be a pound the ball, run the ball team, or are we going to be a little bit more of the high tempo finesse, throw the ball around and make things happen with our athletes type of team. So I definitely think we'll be adding something to the schedule.
So yeah, I like I said, I went to a small school. The head coach at my high school, he's a really good coach. I'm not sure what camps or like 11-on-11s are going on for them, but I could see like, hey, I know this coach, Union County. Maybe you guys want to go have a little scrimmage.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Attica, right?
Yes,
Ramblers.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yep, that's right. You guys just got turf facilities. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I always I relish an opportunity. I'm a big turf guy. That's a whole nother conversation for a different day. But uh, any opportunity to get on it, especially we're possibly, it's not confirmed yet, but supposed to be scheduled to play at Ball State this coming year. So an opportunity to get on turf in the summer would be great,
Mhm.
just to get some practice on it. Obviously we don't have it, so if that comes to fruition, being at Ball State, it would be great to have a day or so on turf somewhere.
So, what's your halftime routine as a coach?
My halftime routine, pretty simple. Definitely, first thing I do is drink some water. I'm really bad about drinking water during the game. I'm sure a lot of coaches either are forgetful themselves or they have somebody constantly reminding them to drink water. So I get some water and then just start talking to coaches, trying to break things down. Um, and figure out what improvements we can make for the second half, or maybe if there's something we'd worked on during the week and we haven't run it in the first half, can we try this now? It's a good time. Things like that. And then just talking to the players again, unfortunately, the way our season went last year, um, not every game, which was good, maybe like 6 out of the 10 games, was trying to keep those guys up, and reminding them um, that it's a process. It takes time. It starts back in December, after the season ended, which I think they kind of figured that out now. But reminding them that it's a process and things are going to get better over time. So yeah, pretty simple routine. Try to obviously watch some film. We have Huddle Sideline and I
Mhm.
have plenty of iPads and things like that. So um, yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at the schedule here. Decent schedule here. So you got Northeastern, Cambridge City, Nicetown, Hagerstown, Winchester, and Union City. I'm guessing Union City is the rivalry because Union.
Um, yep, it is. So one thing I found interesting when I got to Union County is different sports seem to have different rivals. So it's not consistent from football to basketball to
Mm.
soccer to so that was always interesting. Football to have a rival, the games have to be competitive. So I think in the coming years, our rivalries will hopefully grow. Amongst the teams that we become really competitive with, which I hope is all of them. But yeah, Union City, obviously having the similar name is a big one, and they also have similar colors. They're red, white, and blue, even though they're the Indians. Lincoln, from what I gather from the players, has been more of a competitive game consistently. So that's definitely a game that the players look forward to. And then yeah, like I said, we hope to be on the coattails, nipping at the Northeasterns and the Centervilles and the Tries, here in the next year or so. So.
But yeah, like I said, Centerville, Wesdell too. Wesdell, I both the Matt Knuckles and Andrew Tothero
Mhm.
have been on the show, and gosh, I just having the conversations with those coaches, I was like, yes, I love it.
Yeah. Coach Knuckles is a good guy. He was all the coaches in our conference as well as non-conference game, which is Westdale for us, were really, kind to me, and offered advice and stuff during pregame handshake and everything like that. So, but Matt Knuckles, I'm from that area, from Muncie, Yorktown originally, so he's a really nice guy. But again, a lot of the coaches in the TEC are great guys and very helpful. So.
Hmm. So how do you approach long road trips?
Um, Yeah, so last year, luckily, we didn't have a ton of long road trips. A lot of our even our road trip games were closer to home. Centerville, Hagerstown, things like that, Northeastern. So sorry, not Hagerstown, Northeastern. But this year, are some of our longer games. We've got to go to Union City again. Hopefully, we'll be at Ball State. And I don't know what week that's scheduled to be yet, but either way, it's a road trip.
Mhm.
So yeah, just reminding guys. I mean, one thing that when I got there, I had heard stories from previous coaches, staff members of like, Fridays before we would leave, whether it's a home or away game. Obviously, it's more of a problem at home games. Guys getting distracted, doing, you know, unnecessary stuff on campus. I won't even say bad stuff, but just stuff that might cause an injury, playing pickup basketball or doing stuff like that. So I changed up the whole routine
Mhm.
to where, we have our team meals, excuse me, on a Friday, if it's a home game, and then on Thursday if we travel, to try to alleviate some of the downtime.
Mhm.
High school kids they'll find something to keep them busy, if they get bored. So trying to just alleviate some of as much of the downtime as possible. Again, especially on home games is when it's actually worse. But then on away games, getting our snack before we leave, and then just reminding guys that road trip is a business trip. We're on the bus to go do a job, and do our best at it. Again, always, the outcome is not always exactly what you want or what you even think you might deserve. But at the end of the day, you still got to go do a job, just like any other adult. We step into the building and give our best effort, even if we didn't teach Johnny the Pythagorean theorem the way we wanted to, or they didn't understand Shakespeare. We still got to
Right.
get that done, and then the next day go back and try to do it again.
So, Coach, it's, you have a decent looking schedule. What would you say is the biggest trap game?
Trap game. How do you define trap game?
Like, like for example, Union City. I would consider, like, if I was Wesdell, I would consider you guys a trap game because
I see.
when I went 10 the season before, you never know, and
Yeah.
boom, they just surprise you.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a tough question. I mean, I guess a trap game for us would be the game prior to Lincoln. Again, that's a game that's been more competitive for Union County, even in the years prior to me getting there. So that Northeastern game, I feel like it's obviously the first game of the season too, but guys getting distracted and thinking, oh well, this is Northeastern, like we can't compete. That's problem number one, and then B thinking, well, next week's Lincoln, that'll be our time to go out and compete. I think that's kind of a trap for us. So getting those guys to focus on 1 week at a time. You can't overlook an opponent whether they went 8-2 last year or 2-8. You can't overlook anybody. So I'd say the Northeastern game, I guess, would be the my description of a trap game for us.
What would you say is your toughest road game this year?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know the schedule off the top of my head as far as where we are actually home and away, but just thinking the furthest one is Union City. And that'll be the furthest road trip. That'll be one of the furthest road trips I've ever in the regular season ever had to take as a coach. I've had some longer ones, obviously, in postseason play, but I'd say that'll probably be the toughest one, the longest bus ride. Having to get out of the building right after school gets out. Not even a second to relax, use the restroom, do whatever. So I'd say that'll probably be the toughest one. And then again, if Ball State comes to fruition, just because that'll provide a different schedule. It'll probably be on a Saturday. I don't know exactly what time of the day. If we'd be the early, middle, late game, whatever. So that'll definitely provide some challenges, logistically speaking. So yeah, probably one of those two.
How far is Union City to Union County?
Again, I haven't been there yet, but I know it's up near Winchester and then east towards the Ohio border. So I'd say
Ah,
it's every bit of an hour and 20 minutes by bus, maybe closer to an hour 30 by bus. I know in a car, obviously, you can do things different and faster. But yeah, by bus, I'd say it's every bit of hour 20, hour 30. So yeah, even I don't think Ball State's even that far. It's about an hour and 10 maybe, but that'll be the longest one is Union City.
how do you pace the team through the schedule? Like, how do you keep the pace, make sure they're straight on head?
Yeah, I think going into the second year, that'll be something that comes to light more because again, I anticipate being more competitive, being having higher football knowledge. So we won't spend as much time doing that stuff. So yeah, just coaches and I, have a practice schedule that ideally we'd like to implement as far as when we go full pads, when we go pro pads, how much hitting we do. When we run offense, defense. Now again, those things are fluid; they can change. Um, but I think just finding that balance throughout the course of the season, and then still trying to find something, especially towards the middle of the season, to remind these guys that they're having fun. At the end of the day, again, winning is great. Everybody wants to win. Anybody who likes to lose is lying to you. So finding something in the middle of the week or I'm sorry, middle of the week and then towards the middle of the season to make things fun. And just if it's a little competition,
Mhm.
one-on-ones versus where you can call out your coach, whichever coach you want to run a one-on-one against. Walk routes, just stuff like that to keep them entertained and remind them that it is fun, after you've gotten your work in for whatever given day that might be.
So, my favorite drill, like the coaches at my high school to get us going if we were in a slump, it would have us all in a circle. A coach would call out a player, for example, me, and there would be I'll say Johnny, and we
Mm-hmm.
would. It's like lineman battles, but
Okay.
it was
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody.
Board drills, kind of. Yeah. Yeah. And that would be fun, especially, obviously hopefully take out the running start. But yeah, if you have get guys in a circle, get a board in the middle of the field, and say, all right, we're going to do board drills, quote, or sumo wrestling we did that. That's what we called it at Yorktown. We'd have like sumo battles.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it was
but
sumo. I couldn't think of the name.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that stuff is fun. Especially when you establish that, hey, we're not doing this because there's a 360-pound defensive lineman at Northeastern this week. We're doing this just for fun. And again, sometimes that might be one of those opportunities where you know junior Johnny, who's been in the program for 3 years, he's like, hey, Coach Higgins, like, come try to push me around, or vice versa. I'll take that challenge. I'm not too old yet that I can't take that challenge. Pretty much all my coaches on staff right now are between like 30 and 34. So we're not old yet, but we're still
No.
not in our prime. But they've all got kids and that dad strength. So if a kid decides that sumo is what we want to do and they want to have a go at it, they can still do that. So
All right, Coach. So at the end of every episode, I ask you a couple funny questions about your teams. That's where the shenanigans come in.
sure.
All right. So, who would you say is your funniest player on the team?
Ooh, incoming freshmen can count, right? Since I
Yeah.
teach
Oh,
middle
yeah.
school,
Oh, yeah.
I have those eighth graders coming in. Okay, so um, my funniest player, it would probably be there's two possibilities. I have a senior named Justice, who he likes to pick at the defensive coordinator. His name's Kyle Fisher. They like to pick at each other, and so that's always entertaining. They do a really good job of keeping it respectful, but still getting their shots in. So it's actually impressive to an extent that they can both do that. But yeah, that one's good, or he's good. And then one of my incoming freshmen is Caden Sarah. His brother's going to be a senior also, but Caden is he's just an interesting dude, man. He's got the one liners. He's a guy I'm excited to see every day at football. Obviously, I had him in PE in middle school, but to see him on the football field and maybe we're having a tough practice or a tough drill even, and he might come back with one of his one liners or something that's kind of just breaks the tension and gets everybody you loosen back up so we can get back focused. I'm excited to have that around too.
So, who would you say has the worst music taste in the locker room?
Bo Tidrow. That's easy. He's a senior. He's going to be a senior offensive lineman. He has a couple of things that are good, and we've listened to him at track practice. But man, sometimes he'll play some rapper that they think is the next Eminem or Lil Wayne, and I'm just like, turn that off. Like, I can't do it. And I love rap music. I love rock music, country music. I can listen to just about anything, but a
Yeah.
few of the rappers those guys listen to, it gives me a headache. So yeah, it's definitely Big Bo Tidrow.
So, what's the weirdest item you've found in a locker?
Um, I don't know if I've found any weird items. But the item that I consistently find that always just makes me feel sick is like the T-shirt that's been left in there since August 7th. I had to clean out at the end of the season, clean out the lockers. Mostly, I was looking for knee pads, girdles, helmets, if anything, guys that moved and didn't turn their stuff in or something. But yeah, man, there's always that one locker you walk up to, and you smelled it from across the room. So that's definitely a problem. I had the same thing happen in my PE class. Some kid had stuff in there from January, and I'm just like, brother,
Oh,
why? And he,
yeah.
he cleaned it out to his credit, but you could smell it when he finally opened the locker. So I don't know if I've had anything weird, but I feel like every coach has that kid or couple kids who just don't take their stuff home and wash it consistently.
So, do you let Players design plays.
uh, Going forward, I may listen to them a little bit more because I feel like we've done a good job building their football IQ. In the I wouldn't say I let them design plays, but I'll listen to a suggestion. Or, if guys are like, hey, coach, like we haven't run a trick play yet this year. Can we maybe try this? Like, I'll listen to it, and see if it's something that can be worked into the game plan. Or I'm one of those guys who, like, I have all kinds of fantasies of trick plays and stuff, and then I never run them. So I try not to get too crazy. That was in my coordinator days, but I try not to get too crazy now. But I think every team's got to have two or three in their back pocket. So I think I'll listen to that a little bit more in the coming years.
Okay, who on your coaching staff would make the best reality show star?
Best reality show star. Man, that's tough because all the guys, like I said, I have four coaches on my staff who are around my age, and then three of them have kids and are married, and then one I believe is not. He just got hired. I don't know a ton about him yet. And honestly, it's probably my one volunteer. His name's Gunnar Dishman. He's a volunteer. He played at Union County. He kind of just helps out on Friday nights, and he'll come to some practices when he can. But man, his personality, he drives the big lifted Chevy. He's got the lights and stuff, the big offset wheels. So I think he would probably be a good fit for reality TV. You know what? I might even create a video profile for him and send it off to some reality TV shows because he would be a good fit on one, I think.
Okay. That's all right. So, if you were to have a movie about Union County, who would you want to play yourself?
Oh man, that might be one of the best questions I've ever gotten. So I guess I take a dig at myself a little bit. It's really a compliment. There's two guys that people always say I look like, depending on time of the year, haircuts, things like that. So people say, and I'm not saying I necessarily agree, but this is just what people tell me. Some people tell me I look like Cam Hayward from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I see that. I see
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And then other people have jokingly or not jokingly called me chubby Russell Wilson. So depending on the time of the year, which one of those is more accurate, but I would have to say Russell Wilson. Put a little bit of makeup and some of the make him look a little heavier with the VFX and things like that. He'd probably be a good fit. The only thing is Cam Hayward is taller than me, so I'd want somebody taller. Russell Wilson is a little bit shorter than I am by an inch or two. So yeah, I think one of those two guys would be a good fit.
I see the Cam Hayward. I actually had a buddy who played against him in high school.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and this buddy's a nurse, and I was like, "How did you play against All Pro Cam Hayward?" He was like, "Dude, I did like." He was an offensive lineman. He was like, "I would try." He would like shoot the hands up. Already
Mm-hmm.
passed them.
He would try to survive, is what he did. Yeah, he didn't play against him; he survived. Yeah.
All right, Coach. My final question for you today is: who's the team mom, even if it's a dude?
So you mean amongst like the players who kind of like
Yeah, yeah.
takes care of guys and that's a good question. I'm gonna go with Ezra Hensley. He's an offensive lineman. He'll be a junior, I believe. He, I guess, in the terms of being a team mom, I won't say he's not the guy like handing out band-aids or checking on guys if they're hurt necessarily. But if there's something going on in the locker room or amongst two players, kind of like you asked me earlier, he'll be able to reach out to those guys and try to squash it. And then if he can't, he'll come let us know. If it's something that is affecting the team, if guys are getting into it at practice over again, like for example, a girl or something silly, he'll try to handle that and do that amongst them, himself and the other players. And then if he can't, he'll let us know because obviously we got to be together. Football is, they always say, is the ultimate team sport. So If guys aren't on the same page, then success is hard to come by. So.
All right, Coach. I want to thank you again for coming on. I'm Brian Jones. He's Coach Kenny Higgins. Thank you for listening.